Hello there, people of Earth. Today we're going to be talking about Mercenary, Marcus Kruger, and his attack speed squad boosting abilities. Before I get into it, let's just talk a little bit about his passive ability, Paced Strikes. Hitting 3 enemies in one swing grants 10% increased attack speed for 6 seconds. A very nice passive right there. Super useful. Goes well with Swift Slaying. His career skill, Morale Boost. Marcus grants nearby allies 25 temporary health and staggers nearby enemies. Useful little survival ability there. He's also got Hitting the Sweet Spot. Attacks cleave through more enemies, so he's got a little bit extra cleave bonus. No More Laughing Now. 5% increased crit chance. So pretty useful there. For this build, I'm going to be using the Tuskor Spear, and if you don't have the DLC or anything like that, you can do this pretty much the same way with the Executioner Sword. I just think the Spear is a little bit easier to do this with, but Executioner Sword will definitely work for you. So for this build, I like the Spear. I'm going to be using Drill Master. Damaging multiple enemies in one swing with a melee weapon grants temporary health, max, 5 max in one swing. So you swing 3 times, 5 each time, that's 15 temp health. You're in the money, you're living long time. If you're going to use the X Sword, I would recommend Mercenary's Pride. Killing Blows gives you temporary health. If an enemy has more health, you get more temp health. Not a fan of Heal Share. You don't make any temp health. You heal Zealots when they don't want to get healed. It's not that great. Not that great. And then down here, Limb Splitter. So increases cleave power by 50%. And this is a super unique little talent here. He's the only one that has something like this. And we're totally going to make use of it here. Now, when you use the spear, if you hold block and then push and then kind of hit like right after that push, you will do like a complete screen to screen, little side of the screen to the other side of the screen swipe that just cuts through everything. And with cleave, you're just gonna cut through everybody, cut their legs off, cut their heads off. The point of that is to get the pace strikes active. You want to get pace strikes as often as you're swinging, as much as you can. That'll be explained in about 2 talents. Your other options here, more the merrier. This one is good for the standard kind of Kruger build where he's just attacking. You have Hellborg's Tutelage. Every 5 hits grant a guaranteed critical strike. It can be used with the certain kind of build, but you'd have to like take crit chance and crit, all the crit chance off your gear pretty much. I just don't think it makes much sense since he gets bonus crit chance. You don't really need this. Down here, like Smiter for the Spear and the Executioner Sword. The first hit you do, you get 20% extra damage, because every first hit that you put on an enemy, it's counted as staggered. Goes up to 40 bonus damage on the 3rd hit. Very useful for these kinds of big, heavy charge weapons that we're going to be doing. You also have Mainstay and Enhanced Power. Mainstay gives you no damage buff on the first hit, 40% extra damage on the second hit, and then 60 on the 3rd hit if an enemy is staggered. So kind of a personal choice there. Weigh your options. I prefer Smiter. You also have Enhanced Power. That's 7% extra power level. It equates to 10% increased damage across the board for melee, for range. It's okay, but it's not so good for this. I like Smiter. And then down here, this is the focal point of this build. Strike Together. Pace Strikes spreads to nearby allies. This is going to be the way you share your speed. So, with the extra cleave here and here, your side swipe with your spear, your damage from Smiter, you're going to be cutting through everybody. You're going to be getting pace strikes active constantly for 6 seconds. And if your team is smart enough to stay near you, they will get 10% increased attack speed for 6 seconds right along with you. So say you have an elf with a glaive, it's kind of slow, does good damage, but it's kind of slow. She's getting more attack speed. You've got a dwarf with a two-handed hammer or a great axe. Boom, more speed. You've got a wizard with a mace for some reason. Boom, more speed. They're faster. Helps them do more damage, helps them stay alive. It's a very generous way to play. He's also got enhanced training. This is if you hit 4 enemies instead of 3, you can get 20% increased attack speed. So a little harder to do. Not really with the spear, but 1 more enemy, 10% more attack speed. Again, that's kind of a personal choice. Not really what we're doing in this build, but it exists. It's out there, and it's not that bad. Reichland Reaper, this is the one I use on the normal build for Kruber, where he's just kind of attacking. Boosts his power by 15% when you get Pace Strikes active. Useful for that, not for this. Down here, I just keep it at Blade Barrier. Reduces damage taken by 25% when Pace Strikes is active, so as you can kind of see, this build is very much reliant on getting Pace Strikes. So you get 10% increased attack speed, your whole team gets 10% increased attack speed. You get 25% reduced damage, you're getting temp health, you're getting damage from extra cleave, and you're hitting more people. Pace Strikes is kind of the focal point of this build. You also have Stand Clear down here, increases dodge range by 20%. I don't need that. I don't think really anybody would ever need that, but it's there. If you really want to dodge more, it's there. I don't recommend it. You've also got Black Market Supplies, 30% more ammunition. With this, I'm going to be using the Repeater handgun, which already has plenty of ammunition, and the maps have, many ammunition pickups. You won't be out of ammo for very long, so you don't really need this. I think this is a much better choice. And then down here for your ultimate, I always like Walk It Off. So when you knock all those enemies back and give everybody temp health, you're also giving them 40% reduced damage for 10 seconds if they're in your range. It's a very nice little survivability thing going on. He's also got Ready for Action, which it's a 45% cooldown on morale boost, but you don't get any temp health. I think that's kind of dumb, personally. I would never use it. On your feet mates, so his boost staggers, you get temp health, and if you're down, it's an instant revive if you're in his range. So fairly useful there. However, I am preferential to Walk It Off. For the gear, as I mentioned, Tuskor Spear. For this, I like 2 stamina, absolutely super useful on this kind of a build. Crit chance, just to trigger that Swift Sling, give you a little more attack speed. The Repeater handgun, crit chance. Power versus monsters, I have Barrage because he fires all 8 bullets at once. When you charge it up, you can do Power versus Skaven, you can do Power versus Chaos, but I definitely like the crit chance on there. You can play around with this a little bit. There's a number of different things you can do, but this is what I like. Definitely Barrage. The necklace, this is very important. Absolutely go with stamina instead of block cost reduction. And we'll talk about it later, but it's very important. You want as much stamina as you can get here, which would be 2, and 2 stamina here. 2 stamina is equivalent to like 1 shield when you're blocking. So with this build, you get 2 extra shields. I also like health. Health should be on everybody all the time. Bark Skin's really good for this guy. Bunashalia would be another one that you could totally use with this guy because he gives himself temp health and he makes a bunch of temp health with doing Pace Strikes. Although if you're going to do Bunashalia, I don't recommend this talent. I would switch it over to this one because you can only make 5 in one swing here. And Bunashalia gives you extra temp health. For the charm, Power of Chaos, attack speed, I like Concoction. You can do Proxy. You can do Decanter if you want, but this is just what I'm partial to. The trait there doesn't really matter, but I definitely like Power vs. Chaos. They have more health than Skaven, so it makes sense to do more damage to them, and then attack speed, because why not? You probably don't need a the attack speed here, you could swap that out for like, what do you got here? Like Power Burst Chaos and Power Burst Skaven, something like that, you know. But nothing wrong with a little attack speed. And then on the trinket, Curse Resistance, Crit Chance for Legend and under. It don't get much better than that, folks. Curse Resistance for the Grims, of course. Crit Chance for a little more extra damage. And then Shrapnel. Take a grenade, you throw it at a monster, they get 20% increased damage for 10 seconds. Everybody does their ult, kills the thing in 2 seconds. It's also good for patrols. And there you have it. So one thing I just have to mention with the spear, as you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stamina shields where there would normally be 4. And the way that you're going to get the pace strikes is you're going to hold block, you're going to click, and hold that left mouse. So you're going to push, and then you're going to kind of do like a little side swipe. And this is even more overpowered when you have a handmaiden on your team because you get twice as much stamina regeneration. So this will never run out. Try it out.